Hi, this is Calandra. In this lesson, we'll cover finding the slope-intercept form of a line. The slope-intercept form of a line is y equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. This is the most commonly used form for a straight line, the slope-intercept form. So in our first example, find the equation of the line described. Give your answer in slope-intercept form. So we have a slope of -3 that passes through the point 0, 7. So before I apply this formula, I need to make sure that I have my slope, which I do. I know that m is -3. And the question is this point 0, 7 the y-intercept? Well, if I graph that 0, 7, it is on my y-axis. So yes, that is the y-intercept. Therefore, we can conclude that b is equal to 7. So this becomes an easy problem. The equation of our line then is y is equal to -3x plus 7. And that's it. Now where this becomes a little more challenging is if we don't have the y-intercept. So in example B, if we have the slope of 5, but it passes through the point 1, 2, 1, 2 does not lie on the y-axis. So this is not the y-intercept. So that means that you cannot plug in either of those values for b. So this is a process that you can follow to figure out your value for b. So I know that my slope is 5, so that's my m. So we can plug into the slope-intercept form what we know. So y is equal to m, 5 times x. We don't know b, so we're going to keep that plus b in our equation. This is when we look at the other point that we're given. I know that when x is 1, its corresponding y value is 2. So I'm going to plug those values in for x and y in my equation, and that'll allow me to figure out what b is equal to. So I get that 2 is equal to 5 times 1 plus b. I get that 2 is equal to 5 plus b. So when I subtract 5 from both sides, we get -3 is equal to b. So now that I know what b is equal to, I have everything that I need to write the equation of my line in slope-intercept form. So I have that y is equal to my mx, 5 times x, and then plus our b value, which is -3. So instead of writing plus a negative, we just write a -3. And that's our answer. Going into example C. To get the equation of our line, we're going to need the slope, so we can start off by figuring out slope. So our formula is change in y, so -4 minus 4 divided by change in x, -1 minus a -2. So this gives me a -8 divided by a -1 plus 2, which is just going to be a 1 in the denominator. So our slope is -8. So now at this point, I see that neither of my points is the y-intercept, because the y-intercept is always going to have an x value of 0. So you can arbitrarily pick one of your points to use to figure out what b is, like we did in the previous example. It does not matter which point you use. I'm going to pick the first one because the y-coordinate is positive, so the fewer negatives I have to deal with, probably the less of a chance I'll make an error. so that's why I picked the first point. So we're going to have y is equal to mx, so negative 8 times x, and now we're trying to figure out what b is equal to. So we're plugging in our points for x and y. So we have 4 is equal to negative 8 times negative 2 plus b. 4 is equal to 16 plus b. And now we subtract 16 from both sides, and we get that b is equal to negative 12. So that means that the equation of our line in slope-intercept form is y equals negative 8x plus negative 12, so we just write minus 12. Going on to example D, we're looking for an equation with undefined slope that passes through the point negative 10, 4. So this is where we need to remember our special case. Undefined slope means that we're dealing with a vertical line. So if we look at that line, going through the point negative 10, 4, what is the only value that's staying the same for any point on this line? The x value, right? The x value for any point on this line is going to be negative 10. So the equation of a vertical line is always going to be in the format x equals whatever your number is. And in this case, it's negative 10.